Corey Stewart is the GOP frontrunner in Virginia's Senate race. If he becomes the Republican candidate, he will run against Tim Kaine. Now, he's in the news because not only is he the Republican frontrunner, he's also a huge supporter of neo-Nazis. In fact, recently he supported a specific neo-Nazi who his name is Nellen, who has a history of doing pretty disgusting, deplorable things. But before I get to his biography, here is video of Corey Stewart supporting him, endorsing him. You get the picture.
Pleased to be here with one of my favorite people in the whole wide world, and that's Alice Butler Short, who heads Virginia Women for Trump, and one of my personal heroes, not from Virginia, but from the great state of Wisconsin, there's Paul Nehlen, who had a lot of courage, and he took on Speaker Ryan, and I can't tell you how much I was inspired by you.
I appreciate it. Now we need you to win Virginia. We need you to win Virginia. And we're all going to keep the leadership in Congress accountable to President Trump's agenda. That's what we're here for.
Yep, that's right.
So Paul Nehlen, saying that they're going to push for Trump's agenda is probably the least dirty thing that he's done or said.
Yeah.
And that says a lot about him.
I know, but that would be normal, and for a conservative, that there's nothing wrong with that if you're trying to appeal to other conservatives.
But let me tell you who he really is. Nehlen calls himself a pro-white Christian American candidate. Okay. Last year, Nehlen created a list of 81 Twitter accounts, of which he claimed 74 are Jews, and blamed them for helping to sink his campaign against Paul Ryan because of their hatred for America First positions. He was also previously a favorite Breitbart News candidate, but he became too toxic for even that website, and editor Joel Pollack wrote the candidate went off the deep end, adding that they don't support him. Even Bannon had to reject him and say, we want nothing to do with him. Now, Corey Stewart also has a history of saying things that seem white supremacy-ish. So he is known for his love of the Confederate statues, and he compared taking them down to ISIS terror attacks. No, he's a white supremacist. Let's keep it real. Also, his campaign praised apparent neo-Nazi Ian Phil McDonald as their volunteer of the week. And he is also a deplorable person. Okay, so
I want to talk a little bit more about, and I really do think his last name is pronounced Nehlen. Nehlen, according to Bannon, Bannon said Nehlen's dead to us. That's how extreme this guy is. That Bannon has to disavow himself, as Anna explained. And he used Stars of David to identify what he believed to be Jewish NBC staffers. So this guy's a terrible, terrible guy. Now, so what I looked up was, wait a minute, when Corey Stewart was saying he's one of my personal heroes, had Nehlen already done anti-Semitic things and white supremacist things that were very obvious? And it turns out he had. He had already run the Paul Ryan race, the race that Stewart was actually referring to. And in the Paul Ryan race, he had said anti-Semitic things and been in favor of white supremacy. And so Corey Stewart already knows that. Not only is not bothered by that, but that's why he calls him, among, I'm sure, other deplorable reasons, one of his personal heroes.
One of my personal heroes, not from Virginia, but from the great state of Wisconsin. And he said he had a lot of courage and took on Speaker Ryan.
That's the code words they use when they say, oh, you're just being politically correct. I have the courage to say what's true. Blacks are inferior and the Jews run the media. But you're just being politically correct. You know, I can go on and on with the things that they say. So now, okay, so you got one guy that you knew had run an anti-Semitic campaign, but you call him your hero. Then you got the other guy, the McDonald guy, who apparently, this is Ian Phil McDonald, his volunteer of the week, whose personal hero, McDonald's, was the founder of the American Nazi Party, George Lincoln Rockwell. When reporters discovered that, he didn't back down from that. He said, McDonald did, well, I'm glad at least I'm in your head now and you're paying attention to me. So none of these people have been fired as of right now, right? And this story's been out for a little bit. He had a chance to do that. And consistently, Corey Stewart has said that he will not back down on issues like this. In fact, after the Charlottesville rally, he criticized other Republicans for being soft and apologizing for the rally where a neo-Nazi killed someone.
Murdered someone. Yeah, ran over an anti-racist protester.
Now, let me be clear. Corey Stewart is not some oddball candidate who has no chance. He is the current leader in the Republican field to take on Tim Kaine for a United States Senate seat. And some of those Confederate statues, guys, are of, first of all, not some, all of them are of traitors. And Corey Stewart goes around proudly wrapping himself in the Confederate flag. The flag on the opposite side of that battle was the American flag. So he's celebrating traitors. Second of all, some of those statues are of leaders and founders of the Klan. And he thinks taking down statues of founders of the Klan is the equivalent of an ISIS terror attack. The reality is the Klan were the terrorists. They were the original American terrorists, where their whole mission by burning the cross, by doing those things and then actually following through and lynching was to terrorize a community. And they did. And this guy still wants to celebrate them. And he's the leader in the Republican race in Virginia for the United States Senate. This is how far our politics has sunk.
Yeah, and also keep in mind that even though Corey Stewart is the only one who seems to be doing well, he's the front runner in Virginia. 8 white nationalists are currently campaigning for public office. So Trump has had an impact. He has emboldened and encouraged and inspired these people to come forward and take part in politics like this.
And to never apologize, no matter how atrocious their views are, or their supporters or their workers' views are. So this is the sad state of politics in America today. 2 easy ways to follow the Young Turks. One is hit the subscribe button down below, then you're a TYT subscriber. And second is ring the bell. And when you do that on YouTube, you're notified of our videos.